Naturally, I go live when my camera didn't look good. Maybe this will help. How about that? If anybody's here, is that any better? I think, and if it's not better, well, you know what they say in East Tennessee. Well, they say a couple of things. To hell with it's one of them. There are others, however. But we shan't go into that just now. Well, Tim, what do you think about the weather? I ask you first. Well, no, you didn't, but whatever. It's kind of cloudy and overcast today and ugly. I guess we'll stop this before somebody does come in here and catch us talking to ourselves. And like Mike Cabral. Good morning, Mike Cabral. How are you? I don't even want to hear it about donuts. I want to look at that box that your wife had the other day, and I've decided that I can't even get a real donut. How was Christmas? Well, funny you should ask that, Mike. Um, it's almost like it hasn't happened yet. Good morning, Miss Brenda. Mike has a question for me, but it's also for you. How was Christmas? And see what your answer is, if it matches what I'm thinking. The problem is, Mike, this is what happens when you have two adult children. Christmas was very quiet. That's a polite way to put it. I would have said that. Yeah, our adult children, one of them at least, was gone somewhere to Party City, USA, otherwise known as New Orleans, and they had informed us kind of at the last minute that they were leaving last weekend. I think they left last Saturday, maybe Sunday, and they're not coming back until after New Year because you got a party in New Year in New Orleans like it's like it's a brand new year or something, and have a big time. So they're not coming home till Tuesday or Wednesday. So Christmas around here has kind of gotten postponed until the weekend of the 7th, I believe is what the date they have offered us. And I do say offered because, when you, like I started to say a minute ago, when you have adult children, they get to dictate what their old parents have to do, I guess. I don't remember it working that way when I was a kid or, in that position, but hey. So next Sunday, the 7th of January, we are going to have our Christmas celebration. And let's see, that will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That'll actually be the 12th day of Christmas, so I guess that'll work. I'll be home soon to collect new 2024 permission slips. Yeah, Carol, you better. I've had a bad feeling today's going to have something that might need to be covered. We'll see. We'll see if we get to that part. Don't get in a wreck to get home in time to collect. Miss Tina is here having computer problems, trying to get you on the TV, but I'm here. Oh my God. I can't imagine how. I can't really imagine this blown up on TV. This mug. I hope it's a little bitty TV. Like one of those kind you have under the counter in the kitchen or something, maybe. A 6x6 or a 9x9 or something. Well, take your time, Tina, because nothing's happened yet. Something that might need to be covered, what would that be? Are all the guys going to run around nude? Well, that's... Not sure I included that one, but that's possible. Can't say anybody else won't. But there is I think there is a fair bit of discussion about fertility rights and sowing of one's seeds and that sort of thing. Because it is that time of year. At least it was in some parts of the world. "72-inch." Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't, not 72-inch TV. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't. That's going to be way too much magnification. Well, just to clear it up, Dirty Mind, she's talking about she's trying to get me projected onto her TV so she can watch the show on her TV. And it's a 72-inch model. I was hoping it was one of those little bitty, under the counter kind of things, but it's not. And I was just thinking that's going to be really, that's too big, is what I'm thinking. Hey, I just discovered something on this rock. Well, that could be a fossil. Maybe that's why I picked that up. I just thought it was a little piece of flint. So anyway, where were we? You know that. I want an 85-inch TV. Is that so you can brag about having the biggest one in the room, Mike? Mark was just talking about that. Apparently, one of his son-in-laws has gotten like a 80-inch TV or something. He says in Mark's description is it covers like the whole wall. So now, because he's got a fairly small TV, maybe a 32-inch. Diana says you don't need a. Diana says you don't need a bigger TV, Mike. No, our 47-inch TV's getting old. Oh yeah, is it, Mike? I understand. Color's probably not as good as it used to be. And after all, you can buy 85-inch for about the same price as you bought that 47, I bet. Good morning, Diana. We're going to have a discussion about stupid TVs just here any minute now, I think. So anyway, Mark's son-in-law has gotten an 80-inch TV. And so now any sporting event that the family wants to watch together, apparently they have to all go to John's house and watch it because it's big and they can see everything better and they can get, stand up and cheer, and it's like being there. And Mark's TV is like this big, and that's not cutting it anymore. It meets his needs, I guess, but everybody else wants to go watch the big TV. So I think some of the family is headed over to watch the big TV today. Imagine that's how those don't. Oh, Mike, all right. Listen, I've come to a conclusion, and that is that you guys are out donuts. You out donut us by a huge amount, and we might. I'm throwing in the towel. You guys win. You get an 85-inch TV. You best be buying a stupid truck and horse trailer to live in. Oh, Mikey, that sounds like the old ultimatum there, bud. Maybe we should talk about 85-inch TVs in a private conversation. Just a suggestion. Can the 85-inch TV fit in the horse trailer? Oh, on one sidewall. Yeah, sure it can. You'll have to sit kind of close to it. I mean, you'll be within 10 feet of it, but that might be okay too. I mean, some people probably sit that close. But yeah, I'm sure it'll fit. It might be about the extent of it though, Mike. I'm not sure you can get anything any bigger. Why can I still hear you, Tim? I don't know, because you're listening to me. That's a good idea. Well, Mike, if that ends up to be the case and you get some time off, please come see me while I still have a driveway for you to park in. I don't know, Brenda. The door is closed. Yes, it is. In fact, it's probably closed so Teddy can't get out. How about everybody else? Can everybody else hear me too? So I don't know, Brenda. I don't know why. You shouldn't be. Have you guys been house shopping or looking around? Just a little bit, Mike. We're getting ready to get serious. The new year is upon us. And, I talked Brenda into waiting until after New Year's. But I have been looking some. I don't know what we're going to do. It all depends on if we buy a piece of land adjoining Kelly's, or if we try to move off somewhere else and, do that. And honestly, we're probably looking into the realm of double wide mobile homes. So we might become truly Tennessee trash that I've, kind of claimed to be. Yeah, it'd be a good idea, Mike, if we could get this particular piece at a reasonable price. I mean, it's sort of landlocked by their property, and the guy offered to sell it to them a while back, and they really weren't in a position to buy it. He bought the land, the lot for the house that was on it at the top of it's only money. That's right, Mike. It's only money. And I tell you what, it's discouraging. I don't know how new married couples or singles or any families of any kind can buy a house these days. My God, just like this house. I mean, I would honestly buy this house if I could. But I think the price on this house is going to be so high that, there's no way that we can afford to buy it. And that's probably 2 times, if not 2.5 times what it was probably worth when we could have bought it years ago, because it's an older house and it wasn't worth much. Right now, though, it's like a gold mine. New house starts around. Oh, hang on, folks. Here's Marcus. Coon.
Say, Uncle Tim, are you alive?
I am alive.
Where's the link, buddy?
Oh. Hang on, it's on its way. You sitting there talking to Boone?
Tina, he's dissing me, Tina.
Tina, don't listen to him just because.
He's dissing me.
Just because he's saying all that doesn't mean it's true.
Yell at Uncle Tim, Boone. Yell at him.
Hey, Boone, what you doing, bud?
He's looking at this cellular device and wondering how a voice is coming out from it. Aren't you, pal?
He knows his Uncle Tim when he hears him. That's Papaw Tim or Uncle Papaw Tim.
Grand Uncle Tim.
Yeah, there you go, Grand Uncle Tim. Oops, I don't want to do that.
So you send me the deal. I'm going to get off the phone.
All right, I'm sending it to you right now, buddy. Sorry about that.
Oh, about Dr. Child.
All right. It's on. It should be there. I hit the pony in the ass myself.
Okay.
All right, bye. Well, folks, there you heard it right here. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't know. It's just crazy. I think about it. My parents bought the house that I grew up in, or at least my formative years, I would say from 6th grade on till, they sold it a few years before they passed away, but they bought their house for $10,500. Now, their house wasn't a big house, mind you. It was relatively small, but we were happy in it. And we added on to we built in the garage, and that added on I don't know, a few hundred feet, I guess. And house prices are bad, and the mortgage interest rates make it horrible. Yeah, but they're coming down again, Tina. They're getting that back down there. And, they used to be a whole lot worse than they are now. People forget that. I remember when they were awful. When we first moved to Nashville, it was in the late 80s, 70s, I guess. They were terrible. And we looked at houses then, and interest rates were god awful. And I heard some of my coworkers had bought houses, and they were talking about how much they were paying, and it was well over 10%. Here we go. There's Boone. Welcome, Boone.
Boone Thomas. And we have a special guest today. There's Pedro.
Howdy, buddy.
I did.
And that's Tim.
I did.
Good morning, Mike. Mike's from Canada.
He's from
Clear up in Manitoba. Oh.
Yeah, Tina is in the chat. You don't see her, Mike?
She said, I heard you, Mark.
Yep, she did.
So I found my daughter was going through boxes of old photos.
Oh, my.
She has a photo of I need if she gets up here directly, I'll get her to bring the photo out. She has a photo of you and her sitting in the window in Laramie, and we were all much smaller people then.
Am I in the picture?
You're in the photo with Caitlin.
Oh my goodness.
And she had this box of photos, and so I don't know if you can even see that. That's Caitlin.
Yeah.
With a great big, ginormous drug black bear in the bed of my pickup, my game and fish pickup.
Oh, a drug black bear.
See him there laying there?
I do.
That was around that same time. Here's his teeth. He was a good one.
Yes, he was. Not too old?
No, I think he was like a 4 or 5 year old bear. And then I had these show up in my yard today. I don't know where they came from.
Did you?
That's just weird. That's weird when you see bighorn sheep ewes in your yard.
Yeah. They had come a long way.
I still remember that bear. He was waking up in the bed of my truck. And in those days, we didn't restrain them in any way other than the fact they were drugged. And his front half started what they always wake up in the front half first. And he started waking up, and the guy that was with me, our wildlife vet, he was like, "Now he can bite you now," because we were trying to unload him.
And there you were with your how old daughter?
He woke up too early, and I had to dump him. I was trying to get him up to the Forest Service lands to dump him out, and he woke up too early, and I ended up putting him out on some private property, and it was hot, so I had to drag him down to a little creek and get him in the creek so he could cool down. And here come that landowner, and I had never once seen him up there before, and he wasn't a nice landowner.
Uh-oh.
And he goes, "What are you doing up here, Mark?" I was on a public road, but he was like, "What you doing, Mark?" And I'm like, "Well, we had to dart a bear in town this morning." And he looked down in that creek right at that bear, and he goes, "And you let that SOB out on my property."
Well, yeah, kind of.
So I literally stayed with that bear till he was fully conscious. Normally, I would have just put him out and went on my way. And I stayed with that bear till he got up and he could wander about normally. And just so that guy, because I knew that guy was heading down to the ranch house and going to pick up about 3 or 4 Hispanic cowboys, and they were going to take care of that bear.
Yeah, in their own special way.
In their own special way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's kind of fun.
It was just funny. Caitlin brought all these photos out last night. It was like old home week.
Cool. I appreciate you sharing.
Photos of me when I weighed like 100 pounds less.
See that?
Cool.
When I was a whippet. And you were kind of whippet like too in that one photo.
At one time I was. Oh, me.
But yeah, the Pedro and the kids and Boone come in last night, and they got back from
California,
from the West Coast, and they're good. They're glad to be home to Wyoming. So
I bet they are. How long were they out there? Week?
6 days.
6 days.
That's
long enough.
Oh,
long enough to enjoy themselves and then come back.
Hang
Where
on,
are
man.
you going? Are you leaving me? Okay, you can get down. Go. Run away. No, you're not playing the piano. Although the folks would probably like to see a recital.
I'm muted. Sorry. I thought I heard Brenda knocking on the door, but Brenda, say something on the chat. Are you okay? Make sure she didn't tumble down the stairs. Mike's having a hard time seeing Tina. I do not have Tina blocked, Mike, just so I can verify that. She is right here.
She befriended him.
No, that wasn't me knocking. That was my chair acting up. Oh, your chair is acting up. Uh-oh. That's probably not good.
You're going to have to do some chair repair.
I don't know about that. These chairs are getting old enough that they're not old enough to be, antiques or anything special, but they're old enough that I can't get parts for them anymore.
They start falling apart.
Well, they've got an electric recliner foot piece.
Oh.
And I got that special because I wanted it because I could adjust.
Handy.
Well, for my back and stuff, it was handy to adjust angles so they didn't,
Right.
take pressure off my spinal column sometimes. And but we've had them for a while now. Long before this last accident happened with my back, and I think we're down to 2 remote controls at work. I should have bought up, 6 or 8 of them back when they were available. Brenda says she can see Tina. And Tina wants to clear something up. She has not defriended Mike. If I had, I wouldn't be able to see you. I see you.
Hey, boy. Hey!
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, he got into something.
What happened?
He was standing up in his wagon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And he just hit his face on that deal.
Yeah, it'll make him tough.
Hey, it's a long way from your heart, buddy.
You come see me? No,
From your heart.
come to Mama. You
He's good.
He'll be all right.
You're fine. Doesn't even hurt that much.
The wagon's fine.
The wagon is totally unscathed.
He's standing up in the wagon, was he?
He was standing up in a 1940s mini radio flyer.
No. Well, look, lesson learned. Do that again.
And he stood up on it. I started moving to save the day, and I wasn't fast enough. I saw it coming.
Well, that's the thing about our age. See, we know when things are coming, but that doesn't mean we can get there quick enough to stop them.
He got right up in there like he had a hold of the handle of that little wagon, and it's like, you're fixing to go down, boy.
And he did.
And he did.
Even Tina understands. She says it'll leave a scar to tell stories about, maybe even a little dimple.
Yeah, I think he made out all right. He hit the hardwood floor pretty good, though. It was a good thump.
Enough to make him go through concussion protocol.
I think he's all right. We'll put him in the blue tent.
Oh, and his mama probably don't appreciate that, but that's, And there is Miss Carol. She's probably made it home now. She's going to be collecting, everybody, she's going to be collecting permission slips for 2024. There was something I read last night made me think that might be important. I don't.
Oh no.
Well, I think it had to do with fertility rights and that.
Yeah, I bet it did. If we're talking about you never had the wherewithal to have your own space program, and you've come here to Alaska
Yeah, procreate.
to meet the great astronaut when they really just wanted the Northern Lights.
He was so disappointed. He thought he was there to be the great star. Well, Mike, everybody sees you but Tina, so I don't know what the problem is between you and her, but I hope you can get it worked out. I have a bat message. Let me check my bat phone.
I need to. Well, I don't know. I need to get to my eyeglass cleaner device.
No, wasn't Mike. I got a message though from my favorite pilot. I had sent her a couple of things in the last couple of days that I thought were quite funny. Well, I was looking up something. Oh, yeah, message. I have another message. They're wanting to know if I want a quote for still building, Brenda. Mark. Now, Mark can probably tell you about Christmas. I think he had a house full. When he gets back, we'll ask him about that. He's excuse me. He's I think he's got himself muted while he's taking care of business. For any chance, where's Mike at? For any chance, did you get alligator for Christmas? I did not, Mike. Well, not that I'm aware of. Since I haven't received all my Christmas gifts, and my daughter is in Louisiana, where there are lots and lots of alligators, as you might have seen by her pictures on Instagram or Facebook or wherever she put them. She could very well be bringing one home. I wouldn't put it past her. My daughter is definitely one of those that would come home and say, "Gee, Dad, look, this alligator followed me home." I thought and so I named it George. And Mark's cleaning his glasses, but I think he heard us because he's grinning. The following have up-to-date permission slips. Brenda, Mark, Mike, Diana, Tina, Chuck, Tim, did you forge Brenda's signature? Yours looks a little suspicious. I wouldn't do that. And besides that, my name's on the show. So if I don't have one, it's okay.
What you got? Come here. Did you survive your grand adventure? Well, you got snacks now. You're probably happy.
Yeah, you're happy. I see he's happy from here. Mike said he told Jennifer to bring me home an alligator for Christmas. He did.
Where's Jen at? Is she in a place where there's alligator?
Yeah, she's in New Orleans.
Oh, they went to Nolan.
Yeah, they're down there. Brenda's claiming now that I forged her signature on her permission slip. I did not.
I saw forge, and I just thought about blade smithing.
Somebody asked about your Christmas. No, is that it? No, that's the gator for Christmas. Oh, here it is. Mike asked, "How was your Christmas, Mark?"
It was wonderful. We were Sam's youngest grandson, but he's back.
He's back.
But it was good. We had a good time.
Hey, John, welcome in. The surf bum's here.
Well, good morning, John.
Out fishing this
I
day?
hope he was like recently hung up with a big old striper.
Yeah. I know it's been raining like hell won't have it up there, I think, for the last couple of days.
Yeah, but raining ain't got nothing to do with fishing.
Well, that's true.
They're already wet.
And you're going to get wet, so what difference does it
Yeah,
make?
what? It don't make no deal. I've seen them pictures of them boys like surf fishing up there. They don't care if it's raining.
Oh, that's true. Did I hear Peter leaving?
Well, I'm not sure what they're doing. They're kind of gathering forces. I'm not sure what they're doing.
We're gonna take off.
They're getting ready to take off soon.
My wife hasn't been home in over 11 days.
His wife would like to be at her house.
Ah,
When a 2-year-old says I'm ready to go home,
So, yeah, exactly.
it's
Boone told Sam yesterday, "I'm ready to get home,"
I bet he is.
and he's got. Unlike our first grandson, this grandson has amazing language skills.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I mean, like he says stuff regularly. I'm like, what? And it's just clear as day. You know, I don't need to ask that question. I'm just surprised. He came up to me in the kitchen the other day and he goes, What are you up to, Mark?" And I'm like, "You did not just say that," but he did.
But he did. What are you up to, Mark? That's a pretty good line. Do you have an answer for him?
Yeah, I told him what I was doing. He usually calls me Papa, but that particular morning he was like, "What are you up to, Mark?"
I tell you what, keep an eye on that boy. He might be the next Sheldon.
He's gonna be trouble, is what he's gonna be. He's
may
gonna
be
be trouble.
He may be trying to learn German. He may be trying to get in a school over there.
He's a dandy, and he's got another one on the way. So,
Oh, that's right. Do they know what that one is?
well, if they figure it out, they ain't gonna tell us because they're cruel like that.
Okay, they want to know, but they don't want to tell anybody else.
Well, I don't think they want to know either. But
oh, okay. Well, then that's okay if they don't.
You know, if they looked at an ultrasound and like, well, look at that, they wouldn't tell us because they're cruel.
I got you.
Sammy especially, he's cruel.
Sammy standing there, is he?
Yeah, he is.
Hi, Sammy.
Hello. He's just trying to get the car loaded so they can go
Get
to their
the hell
house.
out of there. Wait, are they going to the Mississippi State football game on TV today?
No, they're going to miss out on the Mississippi State football game.
Sammy might appreciate that joke.
Sammy would have, but he already went out the door. John, however, would not appreciate that comment at all.
No. Now, Mike was just talking about he wanted to get an 85-inch TV. Is it John's got the new wall size TV, isn't it? In him? Yeah,
it's like, and it's measured at they measure them at an angle, a diagonal.
Yeah, they go across. Yeah, they diagonal.
It's 85 inches.
See there, Mike? I told you.
The humans on the TV are bigger than actual humans are in real life.
That's not right.
It's not right. He won't even come out and watch UFC or rodeo or nothing here at the house anymore because
You're not big
my
enough.
TV's too small.
Whatever.
What every guy needs in the house, an 85-inch TV.
And Diana, you missed all this earlier. So when he started talking about that earlier in the chat, Diana asked him, do you reckon if you get an 85-inch TV, do you reckon it would fit in a horse trailer camper? Because you're going to need one.
So they had to put like special braces in their wall just to hold the darn thing up.
Oh, Jiminy. That's
Yeah,
probably too big.
It's I told him, I'm like, you just need like a drive-in movie theater at the
Yeah.
house in the backyard.
Has he got movie chairs and all that yet to put?
No,
No.
he doesn't have. But I have a friend that does.
Oh,
He
yeah.
has a whole man cave in his basement that's pretty fancy man cave that's like half bar, half movie theater.
Oh,
And he works in the oil and gas business and makes way too much money, so he
has all that
can afford stuff like that.
Apparently, Mike's saying that an 85-inch TV may be one of the top 5 things a man needs. The necessity of life, he says. I don't know, but
I don't know that the pictures like semi-pixelated. I don't like them.
I think they can get too big personally if they're not.
It's like they're not quite in focus or something. I don't know.
The resolution on them, I don't think is caught up with. We have a fairly good size one upstairs in the living room. When I say that, I mean maybe 50 inches. And I think
That's a big TV.
And that's a big TV, and that's about as big as I want, to be honest.
Well, I was telling you when we were talking about them, we don't have one wall in this house that we live in that would hold a 85-inch TV. I mean, structurally it would, but you'd be covering up a door or something.
It wouldn't meet fire codes.
No,
because it's blocking exit ways. Oh me. Well, let's get on to other things here. I'm
glad to see the Welsh dragon flying proudly.
Well, I thought you would be, and I thought it was a good thing.
And the cross there, the Scottish cross.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to take down the Ukrainian flag because I have a Ukrainian cane now. And I just didn't want to. So I kept it up. But I left the Scottish flag. It's been covering my safe for a while now. I figured if anybody should guard my weaponry,
a Scotsman would be a good choice.
Yeah. And I had a big question that's going to be somewhat relevant here in a minute. Earlier today to Brenda, and then I think I found the answer, but let me get an opinion on this. Considering how complicated Gaelic is. Oh, wait a minute. So back up to the forged signatures. The way my husband writes, he cannot forge each other. We're good then, Tina. I trust you. Let's see. Mike also says, "Oh boy, Mike. What the other items in the top 5 list?" Yeah, we probably need to hear those in a second.
Well, the horse trailer's definitely with the living quarters is definitely one of those.
Oh, Mike says when the TV's too big to fit a wall, you need to build an addition.
A man cave.
Well, Mark could put it out in the barn. He could hang it on a barn wall. It might be a little breezy out there, but in the wintertime, which it is a lot. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, when you got the British Isles, consider the British Isles and then include Ireland, which I don't always include Ireland. They do, but I don't. Uh, Wales, Scotland, and then you got England. What's
Mike said when he gets his 85 incher, he's putting the 47 out in the garage.
I would too, Mike. I'd just relegate it to the garage. Anyway, they all speak a version of Gaelic, which, to my knowledge, is a descendant language. That's probably not how you're supposed to put it, but of Viking language mixed with Celt, or not Celt, but
Celts and Picts and
yeah, and it turned into a Gaelic thing. How in the hell? Pardon me. How in the hell did?
how do you say those words?
Right, exactly. And then you got the English right there on the same piece of ground, just across the border, and they speak English, and it's now granted it's my first language, so I guess it would seem simple, but compared to Gaelic, how in the heck did they evolve into English from Gaelic? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So I did a little research on that. And it turns out that the English language basically came from Germany and parts of France and other areas in middle Europe.
Yeah, it's Anglo-Saxon. It's
Yeah.
like old English is Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, eventually became Old English and Anglo-Saxon. So we evolved from the German language and a mix of French in there. So, that's maybe why we can say parlez-vous français and that kind of stuff. But
Was a Frenchman a man?
is a man a man? Is a cat a man? Gaelic tangles your tongue. Gaelic is hard. I've been trying to learn some words, and Gaelic is really tough. It does, and it's because, well, many reasons, but part of it's because the letters don't do the same things our letters do. You mix them up and they make a sound you might have three letters that makes the sound K or E, long E, like Kaylee.
I learn words of it only by listening to it.
Well, that's what I've been doing. They're still kind of tough, but I can't read them.
I can't read it and make it make sense, but I can listen to it and be able to parrot it back, I guess.
I try to do that, and I can a little bit, but since I can't look at it and understand it, I can't always retain it. Of course, that could be because I'm losing, brain cells by the day. Let me see what Tina has sent me. She sent a picture. And if I can show it on the screen, I will. Oh my word, Tina, you gotta take that down. Hang on a minute. I don't know if I can show this or not. I probably can't make it any bigger. Most of you guys,
72
that's nothing compared to Mike's 85, but
Jonathan's 85 or
share screen. You're not going to be able to really appreciate this probably, but there I am on a 72-inch TV. That's probably a hair bit too big for me. You don't really want to see me that big. That's like I'm in your living room, Tina. I could scope out what you've got on your shelves. I see all kinds of little figures. So anyway,
I haven't told you recently, but you're rocking the beard, dude.
Hey, I appreciate that.
You got some serious length going there.
Yeah, it's getting down. I can tuck it down in my shirt now a little bit.
I get to that stage and I'm like, I got to chop that off. But I had my recent passport photo taken. I had a big old long beard. And I'm like, great, before I can go to Africa, I got to like grow that beard back out because they won't let me on the airplane.
When is that trip?
June.
Well, you got a little while to not worry.
Yeah.
Hey.
Frozen dead guy days.
So we're going to talk about some strange and unique festivals, and they're not necessarily in correct order. And I don't know everything. I don't know a lot about some of them, but I've got down information, and I've got Wikipedia opened up to the appropriate page. But this kind of started talking about, Mark and I were talking about something the other day, had to do with the solstice. And then I found this Frozen Dead Guy Days thing, and I thought that's interesting. And that's the kind of thing that people that watch and listen to Saturday Morning Shine would be interested in and learn from. I am in Tina's living room. Just don't shoot me, Chuck. Okay, everybody get a refill. Mark's untangling dogs. Cup of coffee. So, anyhow, that made us think about. Well, I don't know what were we talking about. We were talking about something that made us think about.
I sent out a Christmas wish to everybody.
Oh yeah,
and I said Merry Saturnalia.
Yeah,
and that the Oak King had just defeated the Holly King, and the days were getting longer.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, and I forgot to write that one down. Mike, I'm gonna help you out with that top 5 list. Number 1's the wife, 2 is a kid, 3's a dog, 4 is another dog, and number 5 is another dog. That's closer than you probably think, but you probably know that.
I just said, look.
Mike says his top 5 is more realistic. You're having all kinds of dog issues today.
What you need is 6 dogs, 7 horses, a mule, and about 35 head of chickens, and I've got just a deal for you.
And a few acres of land.
No, don't get the land.
The land don't go with them, huh? Hey, did you tell me that there was another old house down the road for sale?
You were playing, and then
For me?
From you, yeah.
There's always another old house down the road.
Yeah, there is.
But for sale, that's the key.
Well,
He just started throwing Santa.
some of them were and some of them aren't anymore. So
And he laughed.
Danny's looking for Danny. Her hound, one of her hounds, is looking for your dog to figure out where they're at.
Just running in to tell Mark that it was me.
well, it's a noisy place here this morning. So
It is busy. Mark's right. I totally forgot about the horses. You didn't mention chickens either. Is that like Tina says? Is that like?
yeah, I did. I said 35 head of chickens, some of which haven't laid an egg probably in 3 years.
That's not good because that fits them.
Yeah, well, Cullen's fits when Mama goes back to work. When she ain't home to see it happen, Cullen's fixing to begin. Because we're feeding a lot of feed to chickens that aren't giving us nothing. So,
Oh, well, that's not good.
and it's not like they're great grand pets or anything. So
Do you want to go upstairs and pick out a stuffed animal?
You can have them replaced before she gets home with fresh chickens.
You want to go have
I just want to cut the herd.
herd.
I know some of them that aren't producing, so that's a bad deal for them.
Bad deal for them, indeed. Okay, we're going to talk about some things, and we got all these. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. And I got this big old page of stuff here, and I'm going to read past this. And let's talk about a few, and I mean very few, of the festivals of the fall, winter, and spring that were celebrated by our ancestors, and maybe even some of us today. Not saying anybody here does, but some do. And we'll start where many other early holidays and festivals started this time of year, and that's with basically the last of fall and the early winter, around winter solstice maybe, or winter. Is there a when's the winter equinox is? Oh God, my brain ain't working. When is there a winter equinox? One of you smart fellas out there. Yes, Mike. I'd say he does. fresh chicken is going to be had at the Zorn's household. If he culls them right, one at a time, they won't notice they're missing so much. Probably the grandchildren or daughters are the ones you have to worry about. They seem to pick up on that sort of thing far faster than you might think. Because mine probably would, and they'd probably tell me what their names were. So we're going to start with Saturnalia. And it was the most popular of the Roman festivals, which is where it started. Saturnalia actually started in Rome, and it was dedicated to the Roman god Saturn. The festival's influence continues to be felt throughout the Western world. Originally, it was celebrated around December 17th. Saturnalia was extended first to 3 and eventually to 7 days, because you can't get enough. Well, here's one of the things I've learned in this weekend in researching this is almost all these winter holidays, late fall, early winter, early spring holidays, almost all of them involve vino, ale, or some sort of brown liquor that makes the holiday brighter. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, it's spring and fall. So the equinox, the spring equinox is like around March 20th, 21st, somewhere and the fall is when, September 21st ish, or is it after that? I can't remember now. Anyway, so originally it celebrated then, they stretched it out because, like I said, it was all about the drinking mostly. But it was also, they used to plant in certain parts of the world, like Italy used to plant stuff like winter wheat and that sort of thing. They'd plant it about that time of year, and then it would be ready for harvest come spring. And it affected, and in some ways became part of the Christmas celebrations and New Year's. The fact that Christmas was celebrated on the birthday of the unconquered sun, and I'm not going to read all that, but it's basically the sun, gave the season a solar background connected to the Kalends of January 1st, the Roman New Year, when houses were decorated with greenery and lights. Bet the fire marshal went around and told everybody to keep those candles away from dried out greenery. And presents were given to children and to the poor, which I thought was interesting. And this is a statue basically all about Saturnalia. And if you really look at that picture, most of them have a smile on their face. This lady's about to fall out of her dress. This guy's toga looks like it's damn near off. And I would say they're all under the influence of
spirits.
Spirits, yes. What's the wine?
Just like on a Christmas Carol.
Just like on a Christmas.
The spirits came and talked to you.
So I was saying, Mark, while you were gone, that most of these festivals have a thing in common, and that's a lot of drinking. So these are just some of the things from Saturnalia that originated in Rome. This is like they didn't call it a party, but I mean, this is basically all about gluttony. There's a lot of food usually involved, which we still do today. And there's a lot of whiskey, beverage, probably wine and some other, I don't know if they distilled beverages back then for Rome or not. And this was a plaque or maybe even a plate that was made, and it's got Saturn. And I suspect his wife, who I am not sure who that was. Anyway, Saturn is engraved or carved in this marble. And this is a picture of Saturn up here at the top that was on a wall there somewhere in Rome. I can't remember where they said this one was. And then down here, this was part of the original temple that was to Saturn, or part of this was to Saturn. So they've uncovered in Rome, which is another topic of discussion someday, is how in the heck did Rome get buried under so much dirt and rock? It's amazing how much over time things can get buried like that. You're muted. Did you know that?
Intentionally.
Oh, okay.
Humans are yelling at each other and dogs are barking.
I see an arm there beside you.
Yeah, that would be Pedro. See,
I thought he left.
He's going to lean in.
Hey, Peter.
Well, hi again. Yeah.
I thought you were gone.
No, they didn't leave yet.
Oh, okay.
It takes a while to
Yeah,
gather.
that's true. I forgot. It does. It does.
It takes a while to gather.
It used to take a long time when we left our parents' house too.
And Sam brought his diesel pickup up, and he must have the tailpipe running right into the door of the house.
No, you smell diesel fumes, huh?
Because I'm about ready to get like violently ill. I can't stand the smell of diesel. Either that or he poured it all over himself.
You ought to spend a couple of weeks up your waist in fuel tanks on an airplane that's got jet fuel in it, and or you have to empty the
can't
tank.
even imagine what that's like.
Oh, you really get tired of that smell.
You know, and I used to get violently ill, like riding in the back of the power wagon with the camper shell on when we'd drive up to the Greenbrier River or wherever to go fishing. And, you know, and Dad was driving, of course, so that made me violently ill, just him driving. Because he flew every pickup truck like it was a flipping fighter aircraft.
He did.
You had to pull some serious G's to make a turn. And I have been very intolerant of diesel fumes for all my life.
Yeah, we used to have to spend days and days. We had a couple of airplanes in particular that had fuel bags, and they had leakage problems from time to time. And oh my God, you start filling those things back up, putting them in, and they leak, and you got to take them back out and figure out where, or tighten up the hose here. If you could put the hose, there were connected hoses and clamps, and you could get those things misaligned and you couldn't see any of them. That's another hint. You had to use the eyeballs in your fingers.
Yeah.
And so if they were, myopic or anything, you didn't see exactly how the clamp was. Anyway, you'd smell like diesel fuel for weeks on end, and I just hated that smell. I got to where I absolutely, like you, I couldn't stand it. And let me explain something about that. Jet fuel and diesel fuel are basically the same thing with a couple of exceptions.
Right.
And that is that diesel fuel has more oil. It's dirtier, if you will. Jet fuel has some additives in it that are supposed to keep it from icing up as bad at altitude, because diesel fuel is really bad, and jet fuel too is really bad about attracting water. It's very hydrophobic. I believe that's the word, or not, or is it? Is it hydrophobic or?
No, hydrophobic is afraid of water.
Yeah, it's the other one.
It's the other way around.
Yeah. So anyway, Brenda probably remembers that smell. Tina says her husband loves the smell of gas and fuel. I hate the smell of diesel exhaust. Doesn't bother Chuck at all. Well, I used to kind of like the smell of gas myself, but diesel fuel.
Yeah, gasoline and diesel fuel are two whole different deals.
Yeah, and exhaust smell has gotten worse these days because of catalytic converters, I think. If you're stuck right behind somebody anyway.
Well, and you probably Peter spent his life like doing boat stuff, big marine stuff.
Oh man.
And I assume he been around a diesel engine or two.
I suspect so. Especially if he was on the coast.
Yeah, he was doing, marine work. Not marine work, but marine work.
Yeah. So here's another one that's celebrated around this time of year. It kind of had to do with had a lot to do with the Holly King and the Oak King battle, because when the Oak King, the early one would be when the Holly King's winning out, wouldn't it? Because that's when when summer, after the equinox or the solstice, that's when the days start getting longer. So that's when the Oak King wins, if you know the story. And this is part of those celebrations. And again, as I said before, you can see that there's a lot of merriment and drink taking place. And this is supposed to represent the most of the Gaelic world had a thing about this time of year, and it was a change you went from the end of harvest and the light days of long light and warmer weather into the darkness, the black winter, and that was considered, and this is represented in this image, this painting, as that, they were fighting off, the darkness, sort of. And this is pronounced, I won't be able to do it now, San Wayne. Oh, let me look it up. Hang on just a minute. I got it. I got it here. On my notes, I got to find the right one. Oh, wrong one. That's me right now. Annual celebration. Nope. Scottish traditions. Not that one. Here it is. It's San Wine or Sam Wayne. No, Samhain. It's actually pronounced Samhain. And but it's another end of the harvest season, beginning of winter festival, the darker time of the year, as they referred to it. And if you're far enough north, which Scotland and that area is starting to get to be, the days are much shorter and the night's much longer than it is down here. Same thing is reversed though in the summertime. They get long summer days. It don't get dark up there, Mike. I bet you guys don't get dark till 10 or 11 o'clock, do you? Which I can't see if you respond. I covered you up. Okay, I got that. Yes, gas, diesel, kerosene, and Lysol. He likes them all. I like the smell of Clorox, and he hates it. Clorox. I have to think about Clorox. Lysol, I can give or take. I don't have a strict opinion about Lysol. It's not necessarily a favorite smell, though. Okay, who's next? And this is the map. And I can't pronounce this one again this morning, but this is part of and it kind of shows you this. I don't know what Nun Sam Saw is. That might be summertime. But this is how the calendar was laid out for those. And this is another way they drew it up or looked at it is the wheel of the year, and it shows Litha, which is the summer solstice, and Yule, which is where the Yule tide and the Yule log and all that came from. And then you can see the others. There's Samhain, and I don't know what that one is, or I guarantee you that's not Ostera. None of them sound like they're spelled. And they build up great fires to ward off the darkness, and this was fairly common. And then they also there were places like this that they just stayed away from at this time of year, because this is where these caves were considered entrances to the underworld, or exits, if you will. So evil spirits or bad spirits could come out and maybe take you back with them right through that hole down into the depths of the earth. It makes you wonder where something like that started. You know, who decided that evil spirits came out of this hole? Did they see somebody? Did they stand there one day and a spook came out and got them? Or, you know, what? How did they come up? How did they figure that this hole?
Yeti.
Yeti?
Yeti. Sasquatch.
I'm going to show you, Mike. I'm going to bust.
Michael know the truth of that.
Mike, I'm going to show you a real Yeti here in just a minute, buddy. Hopefully he's still here. And all these, now this is what they consider modern day neo-pagan, who are worshiping the same thing. I don't know how they did this fire. That's cool. I just realized that. That must be like burning up a rope or something.
They're burning a rope.
And that's kind of cool.
And I assume that rope is made out of a special kind of hemp.
Yeah, probably. It may be soaked in something, or tarred, or, you know, has soaked in kerosene, or who knows. But anyway, all these dancing about the fire things, and there are some people who dance about the fire naked. This is all about warding off the darkness and that sort of stuff. And here you got one of the, I don't know what they called them. I didn't get a name on it, but like a shaman or medicine man who's, you know, he's working up some kind of spell to help with the darkness and the evil therein. We also had something else going on, and I haven't been study about this a lot before, but there was a lot of, I'm going to use this big word, divination, which is basically fortune telling and looking into the future, and the Celtic.
You can take classes in that at Hogwarts.
True, very true. I forgot about that. But they had their own. The Gaelic cultures have their own version of the tarot card, which this was supposed to be one of. And then they have these sticks that have these runes in it. That this is a passed down from the Druid culture. In fact, both of these things here on the bottom are. And both of these are ways to read into the future somehow. This spiral, if you really looked at it and studied it, these spirals are each one identical, and each one has 4 spirals to it. And this, I guess you could say it's never ending. And then it has this triangle right here in the middle. All that made it special. All that made it somehow tell the future, tell what kind of children you were going to have, or how many were going to be born this summer, and if you were going to have enough taters to feed everybody, and that sort of thing. And that's kind of where they went with this. They weren't really looking for the evil that lurks in all men's hearts or anything. They were trying to look to the future. How my crops going to do this year? Where should I plant this year. Should I plant that field or that field? And and how many, like, I'm with how they used to say that, not with child, heavy with child. Anyway, is it going to be a boy or a girl? And they get the tea leaf reader and pay her extra money, and she'd come over and make tables shake and stuff. Even back in these days, when the Celts and the Picts and the various other Celtic or Gaelic peoples were, doing these things in the wintertime.
Well, and you can see that scroll work along the outside of that tarot card.
Yeah, the vines are making
Those vines are making those same sort of kind of symbols.
true.
And I assume that triangle in the middle was Venus.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
That was real common with, carved figurines out of mammoth ivory and whatever. I assume that's kind of what that represents, but maybe not. I don't know.
You're probably right, because I read about it quickly, and I didn't. Let me see I don't know if I've got that pulled up or not. Under.
Well, that's a Charlie Russell painting right there.
Oh, can you see that?
That's gorgeous.
That's weird, because I didn't really mean to change that. And I think if I go back here, look, it goes right back to the slideshow. Uh-oh. Maybe now they're leaving.
No, they already left, I thought.
Oh.
Maybe they've come back. Maybe they forgot something. Did they come out front?
They left Boone. Maybe they left Boone.
Oh, they left Boone. He's wandering around here still.
So anyway, that's that's kind of what they did during that time period. Is your daughter up?
No.
No,
Well, she ain't out.
She's staying hid until everybody gets gone, probably. Well, she's read up on some of this stuff. She
could tell you all about it.
She was schooling me on some of this yesterday. And this is a Scottish solstice, same kind of thing, but the Scots, they were looking for people to tell them fortunes. They use these acorns, and
those are
hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts.
Yeah, those are hazelnuts. Excuse me. But they use,
which are very important.
These were said to be acorns, and I didn't even catch that, and I should have known that. All right, I just gave up. I'm going to turn in my biologist. I'm just going to not be a biologist.
Turn in your credentials.
I'm going to turn in my card. Anyway,
that's a really important. That was a really important food source in Great Britain, especially in Scotland. I mean, there were whole villages that were just built just for the collection of hazelnuts.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. And the sticks I just showed, and I think I've got a picture, but I might have used this one and forgot to use the other one. They would take these acorns and either use real acorns or hazelnuts, or they would carve, a wooden set, if you will, and they would carve those runes on them, toss them on the table, and read them. You know how they turned out.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like your tea leaves. That was another thing they did. And I thought I had a picture of them. I don't know if I do or not. And then this is, I believe, could be the reason these rings are on here. That looks like a pair of wedding bands to me, but the reason they're on here is because one of the things, again, all these festivities had two things in common: eating and alcohol, and probably some debauchery. That's why we needed the everything signed. But That might be my great 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 grandpa. Might have been Carol. What have I missed here on? Then it became the symbol for St. Patrick because of the shamrock. I missed something there, but that's anyway.
That's
Yeah,
symbol that you had up before.
oh, okay.
That with all those Celtic knots and what.
Oh, okay. They would hide things in a king cake, basically, during this time of year, and whoever found that would have good luck or whatever. And they might hide a ring in it that might be a symbol that you're going to be married or something.
Like the baby in a king cake.
Or they might do just the beans and the babies and all that kind of stuff. It was much, and that's what kind of carried over into Mardi Gras. And that's where the king cakes from Mardi Gras came from. And this is just another example of, I thought this painting was kind of interesting, but this is another example of big giant bonfires. These are definitely not hatful of fires. Must be where we got the bonfire issue with people building great big giant fires, Mark. Because all these people know how to build is bonfires, I've decided. Okay, now we're...
Because it won't go nowhere.
Do what?
Because they don't go nowhere.
Because they don't go nowhere, that's right. Okay, now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. We're going to talk just a tiny bit about the 12 days of Christmas and 12th night. And Billy is on here because he wrote a play about it, of course. That's what he did. And then, here's an early print or I don't know, wood. Maybe this is a wood, whatever they call that printing.
Woodcut.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But this is again, they're talking about the 12th night. They're celebrating the 12th night, which is the 12th day after Christmas, remember. Well, if you don't know, that's actually when it is, not the 12 days before Christmas. I mean, it gets celebrated both ways now, but it really started out as the 12 after. And that day could start on the 25th itself or the 26th, depending on where you were. But again, what we've got here is a lot of making merry and drinking. So, I mean, I've really decided that this has a lot to do with it. And that's these guys up here are making merry. This is a reenactment. It didn't say where this was, so. But that's what they're doing. They're dancing and doing some of the things you would do on a 12th night celebration. Tina, what do you mean by all birds? Explain that, please. Refill here. Hang on just a minute. I was talking about yet again. Here's making merry, and alcohol is involved. And I may be wrong, but they would go. When did they go a wassailing? Was it during this time or was it during the mayor thing? Maybe both.
Well, it was both of them. The Mary Lewd.
Yeah. That was caroling, wasn't it?
It was caroling. It was around the solstice.
Yeah.
So it was the same time of year.
And one of the things I read,
the solstice is usually before Christmas.
Yeah.
22nd, somewhere in there.
21st, 22nd, yeah.
And but that's kind of when that whole tradition started.
Well, part of this tradition, or the Mary
Lewd,
was if you could get one of these traditions, they would start telling rhymes. You'd come to the door, knock on the door, and you'd speak in a rhyme. And if if the proprietor of the house that opened the door, he would respond with a rhyme, and this would go on till one of them ran out of rhymes. And the one that ran, if it was the owner of the house that couldn't think of a rhyme, then all the all the married doers got to come into his house and drink his alcoholic beverages and eat basically as much as they wanted, and then they could leave and they could stay there and eat everything he had and drink everything he had before they left. They were welcome to it all if they got in. That was part of the deal, which I thought was pretty funny because I couldn't do that. I'd lose right away. Sometimes I can think of rhymes, but not like some people can. And then there's that king cake, and this is a version of the ones that they had in Scotland back before Mardi Gras ever started. And these are, again, like I said, it had a lot to do with food. And here's they had put out these presentations of cake and fruit and just all kinds of things. And that's what this is, a modern day version of that. Said the 18th century's 12th night was a feasting holiday in an era when food presentation itself was primary entertainment. So, believe it or not, instead of watching TV, they might go somewhere like this and look at the food presentations and spend the evening doing that.
So like Mardi Gras, the oldest Mardi Gras in America is not in Louisiana.
No, it's in Mobile, Alabama, I think.
In Alabama, yep. Yeah, so that was like you had to walk around to find it, but it was like watching the Food Network.
Yeah, kind of, exactly. That was entertainment. A typical spread of some of the desserts that would have been seen in the mansions of the Delaware Valley is shown here. Now, this one down here, I guess, is still in Camden, New Jersey. These were taken in 2005. The centerpiece of the 18th century 12th night, that says, and the ornately decorated confection often contained a bean, a coin, or a cast metal icon of the baby Jesus. The guest who recovered the icon from his piece of cake was named King of Twelfth Night. The king in this photo, the cake in this photo, is typical of the genre and was on display at the annual Holiday Tastes and Traditions exhibit, Winter Through. That's a weird way to say that, Museum and Gardens in Delaware. So they would do it even in a cake like this. It didn't have to be necessarily the king cake like they have in New Orleans. It could be any cake, basically. So anyway, like I said, that was part of Christmas. This is why we all eat too much at Christmas too. I mean, look at it. One of those desserts look like it does, doesn't it? Right here, this one right here looks like Space Mountain.
Well, and Tina was talking about all birds. The 12 days of Christmas were all birds.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that either, or I had never looked that up. Interesting.
5 golden rings, probably golden pheasants.
Yeah, they've got a ring around their neck. The males do anyway.
Yeah. So
the next one we're going to come to is Hogmanay. And then I'm going to tell you something. You might think I'm saying these wrong, and I probably am. But the fact is, everybody seems to say them different anyway. So I listened to several examples of how to pronounce this. And one of the things they did was say this isn't hog. It's more like hug or hugmanay. This is one of the closer ones. This is actually close to how that's spelled in Gaelic. And so it was not as hard to say as some of the others. But it wasn't spelled like that exactly. And guess what? We got more festivities here. We got a young red-headed man kissing a looks like a Bobby. He may end up in jail right there for sexual harassment of a police officer, a sexual assault on a police officer. And I bet he's drunker than Cooter Brown. So Hogmanay had to do with a lot of stuff. Again, the light, the dark, and they used lights to ward off the darkness and that was coming. But one of the cool things about this, I thought, was they have turned this into a opportunity. Let's say that's what they'd say in the government, Tina. Right? We have an opportunity for you, and it was usually to go do something nobody else wanted to do. They turned this into an opportunity to raise money for the homeless, to help the homeless, to give them clothes in the winter and some food and that kind of thing. So when they have these torchlights, they have these torchlight ceremonies. I'm going to try to roll this to the, well, it'll be in a minute. I'll get back to that. Don't forget that point. Because they also had this cool thing called First Foot. And it was sort of it was kind of a good luck thing, and it probably meant some other stuff, but it had to do with the person that stepped in your house first in the new year. So it was the first foot that came in your door in the New Year's was important. And I have some information about that if I can find it. And this one came almost directly from the Vikings, this holiday. At least that's how it originated. Okay, Hogmanay. Here, let's see if this is the right one. Hogmanay. Scotland. Every year as the long winter nights creep by, Scotland looks forward to the biggest party of the calendar when we defy the darkness to see out the old year and welcome in the new. And some of the traditions are the tradition of first footing requires that the first visitor of the new year should be a tall, dark, and handsome stranger. I guess that depends on who you're looking for, and should come bearing fruit or should come bearing a gift of coal to bring good luck for the coming year. Now that varied depending on where you're at, because in some places they didn't bring coal. In some places they brought a fresh bottle of whatever the local distillate was or the local ale, and or flip it, and the person whose house you were stepping into had to supply the ale or the nog or whatever it was you were going to get happy on, because again, that's what it was all about.
So what is that in that photo that's over there on the right side of that deal?
Well, that's one of the deals. If you went into a house, if you first footed into a house and they were serving alcoholic beverages and food, that's a display of some of the common foods that you would find in a house. And I had this written down here, I think.
So what in the world is that up in the upper left-hand corner? Is that a haggis?
That's a haggis, buddy.
It is a haggis.
It is a haggis. And a real honest to God sheep stomach. And this was probably water of the gods, which is Scotch. And this is, I don't know if this is some kind of hash or sausage or if it's what came out of the haggis. And that looks like potatoes to me, but I'm not sure about this one. It had a kind of a list of the foods that you generally would see that were traditional foods. And let me see if it's on this. That's not that picture. Let's see. Here we go. Caroline. The designated first footer is literally the first person to set foot inside your home on New Year's Day. It can be a friend, relative, neighbor, or even a family member, but that person cannot be inside the house when the clock strikes midnight. They have to be outside and come in. So your brother or your dad wants to be your home's first footer. He needs to be outside on the porch. Sometimes one or several people are designated as first footers for a village, and they wander around house to house. First footers would carry a lump of coal, some salt, black bun, a type of pastry covered in fruitcake. Oh, pastry covered fruitcake, shortbread, and a dram of whiskey. These items were believed to bring good luck symbolically, warmth, and all that kind of stuff. And they also did spring cleaning for this festival. There were certain groups or certain areas where they would go through literally and clean out scrub the whole house down, and that was something that people actually volunteered to do for each other, from what I read. Or at least here's a list of the foods. For an example, be haggis, salted fish, soup, oat farleys or oat cakes with cheese, shortbread, and then just cakes in general, often made out of fruit and spices. And that's where that picture came from. It didn't necessarily describe that picture. Contemporary feast may have Scotch broth, a hearty meat-based soup with root vegetables and barley, cockaliki soup, which is chicken soup with leeks, cockaliki, steak pie, roasted lamb or mutton, tatties and nips, which are potatoes and turnips, cranachin, which is a dessert made of oatmeal, raspberries, and cream, and then there's a clouty pudding dumpling, which is a steamed pudding. So anyway, that was the kind of thing they would do for this holiday. And I think I can close that for a moment. And again, this is more of that same dancing and carrying on outside. And you can see there, she's got some of the runes on her head. And I thought there were some more symbols painted on her, but I don't see them. That's been a different picture. But here's what I was going to talk about. So they've turned this into a way to raise money, and they sell torches. And to be in these parades, you have to buy. Whoops, Mike, did you see that? Is Mike still here? They have to leave. No, he's still here. I'm going to show you your Yeti and Bigfoot, Mike, just here in a second. And anyway, they take money from these torch funds that people donate to get a torch, and they get thousands and thousands of people do this. And they take that money and turn it around to use back in their cities to help the homeless, feed the homeless, clothe the homeless, and help them get back up on their feet in some cases. And so that's part of what all the torches are about, which I thought was kind of a cool idea. I don't know what they're burning, but look at these. I'm assuming these are the ones that they were selling. I mean, this is some kind of a fiery stick here. I don't know what that is. Makes me think there's a wick in it, and maybe there's some kind of, oil or fiery liquid down in here to soak up the wick, or that the wick soaks up and then burns on the end, kind of like a lantern. Because they had to last for a little while. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So that takes us on to another festival called Busajaris. And it was these guys, which I think could have been mistaken for Bigfoot. Unbelievable people using fire for good things for the community and not burning it down. Why can't we all be like that? That's a pretty good question, Mike. The legend is, and I'll get it so I can read it and give my voice a moment of rest. Okay, this is a Hungarian word meaning buso walking, or in Croatia it's pronounced it's pohod busara, and it's an annual celebration of the Sokai or Soka living in the town of Monhax, Hungary, held at the end of the carnival season. So this is a little bit later in the year, and includes, damn it, stop that, folk music, masquerading. According to the most popular legend, during the Ottoman times of when Ottomans conquered and held this territory, people from this town would flee the town, and they started living in the nearby swamps and woods to avoid the Ottoman troops. One night while they were sitting and talking around the fire, an old Sokak, I don't know how that's pronounced, Sokac, appeared suddenly from nowhere and said to them, oh, it reminds me of another line from a Christmas story or something. Don't be afraid. Your lives will soon turn to good, and you'll return to your homes. Until that time, prepare for the battle, carve various weapons, and scary masks for yourselves, and wait for a stormy night when a masked knight will come to you. He disappeared as suddenly as he arrived, and the refugees followed his orders. And some days later, on a stormy night, the knight arrived. He ordered them to put on their masks and go back to their city, and making as much noise as possible. They followed his lead. The Turks were so frightened about the noise and the mask and the costumes and the storm of the night that they thought demons were attacking them, and they ran away from the town before sunrise. And there's another older story. They were, but it was the same thing. They were scaring away the Turks, and it's been celebrated ever since then. And I thought it told what year that started. Probably does somewhere. But it led to all these amazing costumes, Mike. And I always think of you when I think of something that looks like a fake Bigfoot. Nothing personal, buddy. But look at these costumes. Tell me that doesn't look like a Yeti. Oh, wrong way. So you got these guys carved. These are wooden masks and horns, and they used to all be made by the wearer. Now today, I don't know if that's the case. They may have them that they hand out, or somebody else may make them. But I would have to think that the costumes are made for them, by them. And this black one right here, I thought was especially scary. If that come running at me in the middle of the night, a stormy night, I'd run like hell too. And these are kind of the more contemporary parts. The ladies are mixed in with them, and they're wearing masks and veils to, as their part. But in the original legends, I don't know if they were involved or not. I don't know if they had women warriors there. They probably did. And they build fires and burn things too. And this looks like an alpine horn to me. It's carved out. This looks like it's made out of an old hollow log or something. They didn't really explain what that was, but that doesn't look like a weapon.
Well, I see where Maurice Sendak got his ideas for where the wild things are.
Yes. Yeah, probably. Because these guys came out of the woods where they'd been in hiding. And, so I don't doubt that. But all that stuff comes from something they've seen in history.
They just look like those characters. But.
Yeah.
And Carol said that Mike would rather have a stupid Bigfoot costume instead of a stupid horse trailer.
What did Diana have to say about it? It's a Bigfoot walks and talks like one, so it just makes sense. Mike would. Oh, that's the one you just read. Oh, Hitchhiking Bones, welcome in, Dawn. I didn't see you. It's a nice wallpaper. She must have been able to see my. Oh, that's right. When I do
when you flippy back and forthy thing, we get to see but we don't get to see what you're talking about very often.
Oh, well, I'll have to stop
Because
that.
you're flippy. You're like,
I'm gonna stop flippy.
you got the ADD on your, like, showing your slides.
All right, I'm gonna back up. Well, sometimes that's because my finger
You
hits.
can't back up.
Well, I can back up right there. I want to make sure I'm in the right place. This is interesting over here because this is like leading a group of these creatures chained together. I suspect that there's no hand or feet are chained. That's probably just a way to keep up with their kids in the crowd. This is a happy monster over here, though. Look at that big old smile.
I don't know.
He plays hockey too. Look at the missing teeth.
His eyes don't look happy. I think he's.
Well, that's a good point. You got to look at the eyes. And here's a whole bunch of the masks that I assume are on display, probably for sale. If you want to participate, maybe in next year's event. And they've been doing this for a couple 100 years now. I like this.
Bovine horns.
Do what?
Lots of bovine horns and sheep horns.
Yeah. I like this one down at the bottom here in red. I thought that was a pretty cool one. Those sheep horns have been cleaned or buffed or bleached or something. I mean, they just look extra white. I thought this was a pretty good picture too. All of them looking down like they're in a huddle. And then some of them attack through the water. These are what I would call, Mike, the aquatic big feet. They're not obligatory to the water, but they can use it at times. Or they're not water obligates. Let's put it that way. Okay. Now we're going to get into the fun part of the story today. I'm going to keep my hand off that. Hey, John, back. Had company. Well, I hope it was good company. Like equals smashed. Yeah, it would be kind of cool. Mike, if you had that mask hanging on the wall of your house by your 85-inch TV, you could tell everybody that came to visit you that you personally had taken that Bigfoot in the mountains of British Columbia. You know, back in the day when you were the great white Bowana out there, but you just never told anybody about it. Mike says I'd put that on my front. So when the Jehovah Witnesses came, they would leave. Mike. Not that I don't understand. But that would be Brenda's grandmother, maybe. Okay, now we're going to move into how I got started on some of this. Not entirely, but I discovered it and then I went further. And that is Frozen Dead Guy Days. And this is a modern day wintertime celebration that really happens once a year. And it's been going on since the mid-90s. And this year's event, well, actually the next event, which will be the 2024 event, is March 15th through the 19th. And it's in Estes Park, Colorado. So I put this up here because I knew some of you would want to go. And this Tough Shed, and this is really a backyard tool shed built by the Tough Corporation. See advertised on TV all the time. This is a Tough Shed cryogenic mausoleum. Now, mausoleum, you say? How would you do that? Well, let me explain it to you. Back in, I don't know if I wrote this down. Back in 1989, there was a grandpa gentleman who lived in Norway, but most of his family was over here. He had lived here too, and he moved back to Norway, and he was farming, doing some work on his place, doing something, and he passed away of heart attack. May he rest in peace. Well, his grandson, who still lived in the States, come up with the idea that he wanted to bring Grandpa back to America. Brenda, your husband's in the chat. I love to rock the boat so I can turn you over, Mike. And he decided that he wanted Grandpa flown home. So he paid, I think he said he paid $5,000 to get him brought home. And I think I believe the story goes like the undertaker in Sweden or Norway, wherever he was at, offered to, just take care of him over there and put him in the cemetery, local cemetery or something, and he said, no, I want to take him home. And the guy said, that's going to cost you $5,000. He said, I don't care. I'm going to take him home. So he took him to a place in California. Yeah, I got to pull this up because this is too good a story to mess up. Okay, let's back up here to the 1989. A Norwegian citizen named something I can't pronounce, and brought him back to the United States. The body was preserved on dry ice for the trip, and then it was stored in a liquid nitrogen container at the Trans-Time Cryonics facility in San Leandro, California from 1990 to 1993. His name was Bredo, Bredo. Well, reason he was out in 1993 probably had something to do with how much it cost. But in 1993, his grandson, his grandson's name was Bredo. His name was Trygive, Trygve. If anybody knows how to accent and speak Norwegian, they planned. His mother, the grandson and mother, which was his daughter, the guy that died, his daughter, decided that they wanted to start up their own cryonics or cryogenic facility in Colorado where they lived. So, but the bad thing was, right in the middle of that, Bredo got deported back to his homeland because he had overstayed his visa. And his mother, I don't know how old she was. Her name's Aud, A-U-D. She continued to keep her father's body cryogenically frozen in a shack behind her unfinished house. So this is the actual shack, the tough shed that they put the poor old guy in this box. And this was all happening in Nederland, Colorado, or Nederland. I don't know how they pronounce it.
Nederland.
Nederland.
Well, if you're from the Netherlands, that's Nederlander.
Yeah, but if you're from Colorado, what is it?
I don't know if they say it correctly or don't. I would say Nederland.
Well, this was the sign where it started, and then it ended up in Estes, Colorado.
Is that Carol wants to know if that's Ian in the shed because he's not here.
You know what? It could be. I didn't think of that. We'll say it is. But they had a problem. They had to move it, and I'll explain that in a minute. But that's why there's two different signs, like two different signs here, or logos, or buttons, or whatever those are. I bet you get one of those if you go to the festival. So this is what it looks like inside, and I'm not sure if this might be Ian right here. This is the original Tough Shed. Well, no, they put him in a newer one, but it's the same. It looks the same. And what they did was they built a coffin oh, what do they call it in Egypt where they put the bodies, the pharaohs?
A sarcophagus.
Sarcophagus of sorts in this Tough Shed, and it's surrounded by foam, thick layers. You can see it right there. Geez, that looks like it's probably 6 inches thick. And then they pack dry ice around the body, and the body is in a sleeping bag, which is what he's got right here, this blue thing.
I thought he was just it looks like a roll of carpet.
No, it's a sleep. I don't know what the black part is. That must be what they put him in when they put him in the original tank. But then they put that into a sleeping bag, and that helps related too. It's kind
Looks like they're prepping him for throwing him off a bridge somewhere.
Yeah, out of the trunk of the car. So anyway, he's got these are newer digs, and he's in a new place. They actually moved him to Estes, so the body is now in Estes. And well, let me back up here. So what happened was it was in Netherlands, and after it started in 2005, and by the year 2021 or so, 20 or 21, the whole thing had completely outgrown. Hey, Teddy, you want to say hi? You don't know it, but they're watching you. The whole thing had outgrown the little town of Netherlands. So the guy who did it all made it a festival. He just decided he couldn't do it anymore. It was just too big. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Tell Mark you're a good boy. You're not too needy, are you? Just a little bit needy.
Yeah.
So anyway, he decided it was just too much, and they were going to end it. But it had become such a big deal in Colorado for money for people, all businesses that were able to stay open at different times of the year because of all this people coming in, crazy though they may be. That he bought it from the guy. He basically bought it like a franchise. I think it said he paid him $250,000 for the use of the mummy and the name of the festival, and they moved him to Estes, which is where this is at. These are new digs. This is in Estes. So once they got to Estes, actually this was already happening, but it's happening now in Estes. These are the kind of events you would see there. And this is called coffin races. And you can see that they have everybody has their own idea of what a coffin ought to be for a coffin race. This one down here at the bottom that's being carried in a parade or whatever, that doesn't look very conducive to speed to me, but because that looks heavy, but could be wrong. And but you've got some looks like some snow princesses over here and some lumberjack dudes up here with long braids. Look at that. The men have braids hanging out of their helmets. Maybe the women, that looks like it's a co-ed team, maybe. And over here you got people in shorts on this nasty, nasty ice. There's some ugly stuff. There's nothing uglier than old ice once it starts getting muddy and dirty and cracked. I just noticed these guys have all got on these bicycle helmets that look like your brain. Maybe it's got something to do with zombies. Which obviously this one down here at the bottom is probably some kind of a zombie killer. I wish I knew if this was a flamethrower right here in the front. And somehow I think it could be, but it might be a little dangerous for these guys if it dripped. Anyway, so this is the kind of things they do during the dead guy celebration. and they have a water flop or a plunge. And, this is all in probably sub-freezing temperatures or very close to it, depending on the year. I'll tell you something. These are some of the ugliest legs I've ever seen in a bathing suit, or at least what looks like could be a women's. What do you think? Bathing suit, yeah, okay. And down here and they have frozen T-shirt contest, which I can only imagine is like a wet T-shirt contest, but you got to stand there till your shirt freezes. And I'm thinking by that time, the women who participate would probably be in great pain, but I'm just guessing. And here's more of plunge. This one over here looks better because it looks like that's in a lake. They've broken the ice away to get people to hop into this one. And I'm just, I don't know if any of you guys are long time watchers of Dr. Pole, but anytime I see something like this, it reminds me of Dr. Pole. Who is that? Is that Sammy?
That's you.
Oh, that's me.
That's you and Caitlin.
That's me and Caitlin. Wow. Where are we sitting?
You're in the bay window at the house in Laramie.
Oh, okay. Wow. Jesus. Wow. Did you see that picture of your daddy? Okay, so anyway, if you're a long-time watcher of Dr. Pole, his son, Charles, volunteered to do this for some kind of benefit thing they were having there in their hometown. And he jumped into the
Mike wanted to see it again.
Who did?
Mike did.
Mike don't get no ideas. You need
look at that young fella.
You need to send me a copy of that. Damn, she looks little.
Send it to you right now. It's on my phone.
She was a little bitty thing back then. That's when she taught me about truck farts, I think.
Nah, it's probably a later trip.
You think so?
Yep.
Mike says, permission slip be damned. I'm covering my eyes. Well, anyway, when Mikey jumped into the pool, he had on some kind of Batman suit or something with padding in it. He thought that would keep him warm. But what he found out was it soaked up all that ice cold water and he couldn't get it out. He couldn't get out of it fast enough. And he just about froze.
Yeah, they were doing like a polar plunge or whatever.
I will, Tina. Here, Bill for short. There it is right there. Oh, and that's the last one, Carol, so you don't have to hide your eyes. I put this one up here. It said the end and Happy New Year with this young Scottish couple wrapped in their flags to try and stay warm. I think this might be more of a warmth thing than just a, patriotic thing, but that's just my opinion. So that's what I had for today to discuss. And I hope it wasn't too boring. And what in the heck is that over there?
We didn't talk about Speedy.
Oh, I didn't. Why didn't I?
Why the heck not?
Okay, wait. I've got it.
It's not a winner. It's not a winner.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about it anyway because I've got it. I looked it up and everything, and I had it in my folder. I don't know why I didn't.
We got to talking about the dead guy celebration in Colorado, and that brought us to Speedy in Paducah, Kentucky.
Yeah, so during that discussion Mark and I were having, he made it trigger the brain cell, unfolded a piece or folded a piece or something. Anyway, he said you got to look up Speedy
Adkins.
Adkins. And Speedy Atkins was a Kentucky's, as far as I know, only mummy. Now there might have been some more, but that's the only one we know about that's somewhat official. And he was a mummy because the guy,
He was mummified.
he was mummified, but it was sort of a weird thing. I mean, it was I got this listed as the last show of the year. The last show, right here it is. Now, I'm going to put this back on my screen and present again because I thought I included that. Oh, I see that's what happens when you're working on something and you're looking at it and looking at it. And then you realize, well, hell, I didn't show that.
Then you realize you forgot Speedy.
Well, that wasn't what you were supposed to see. Why did it do that?
I don't know.
Why is it not sharing?
Well, we see your like.
Yeah, but you don't see Speedy blown up. I see Speedy blown up.
We don't see Speedy blown up.
Let me see if I can. All right, let me try again. Share screen. There he is. Now, the story of Speedy. Let me pull it up here because I want to get it right.
African American.
I'll tell you what else I left out. I left out Mary Lewd.
Oh, you did leave out Mary Lewd.
Damn it. I got to. That's what happens when I stay up half the night working on something and then get up early in the morning working on something and none of it
Makes any sense.
None of it fits together then. Shit. Sorry. Pardon me. Okay. Speedy Atkins, whose name was Charles Henry Speedy Atkins, and I'll tell you why he's Speedy in a minute. He was born in 1875 in Tennessee, actually. And then he left Tennessee at some point and he went to work for the American Tobacco Company in Paducah, Kentucky, in like their warehouses. And he was called Speedy because he was so handy and fast with his hands that he could tie tobacco leaves together faster than anybody else there. And that's how we talked before about tying up tobacco, and a hand of tobacco was, that's how it was. One time, that's how they measured it. You counted how many.
It's just a big old handful of tobacco leaves, and you tie one around the top of it.
Yeah, and I guess they don't actually measure them that way, but they talk about them that way. Maybe because that sort of shows what the quality is. But anyway, he went to work for the company, not growing it, but working in the plant, and he did that till 1928. When he passed away. Rest in peace. Oh no, he didn't pass. He didn't just pass away.
He drowned in the Ohio River.
He was fishing in the Ohio River, and this is how they say this, which makes no sense to me. So on May 1928, Atkins went fishing and fell with his line into the Ohio River. So I guess they mean he took pole and all. And he drowned. So they transferred his body to Hammock's funeral home.
And Hammock was his buddy.
Yeah, Hammock worked with him. And Hammock was the only guy in Paducah that would actually take in black burials. He would do black funerals. Nobody else in town would do them. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Hammock was white. So, but anyway, he decided he had created a new powerful preservative that he wanted to experiment with. So he decided to experiment on his buddy Speedy. And it transformed the corpse into a wooden-like statue. his black skin turned actually more of a reddish color, but his facial features remained pretty much recognizable. You know, most mummies, if you look at the face on Speedy, and I'm not trying to make light of him or any of that, so please don't think so. But you look at his face. I mean, the skin didn't withdraw and pull back away from his mouth and his eyes and all that kind of stuff. He looks pretty much normal. But then, let me see if this will work. Did that show up? I can't see the screen. Yeah. Well, it doesn't show up very well. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. This is basically his tombstone or marker. He died. He's buried in the pauper cemetery. So basically, they were saying he lived 53 years as a pauper his whole life, and but they didn't bury him right away. This tombstone,
No.
he died in 1928, but this this grave wasn't created until the early 90s. I think 1994.
94.
So it was 66 years later, August 5th, 1995, and he died as a celebrity because in the period of time when he was the Kentucky Mummy, people actually came to see him, and they would stand with him and get pictures taken and all kinds of crazy things. And Mark has had experience with this. And this is Albert. I'll come back to you in a minute, Mark. This is Albert Hammock. This is the guy who buried him. Or not buried, actually not. His son
He
later
mummified him, and then he died.
mummified him, yeah. And then he died. So
And Mama Hammock kept him at the house in the parlor
for a long time, yes. And
for 45, I think 45 or 55 years, and she would charge tuppence a look, you know.
and let him stand there. There's other pictures. If you look him up on the internet, and this is kind of funny and it's kind of sad and it's kind of a lot of things, I guess. But they actually stood him up in the corner and people could take their picture with him. And there was a guy who worked for the Hammocks, I guess, for years. And one of his jobs was to clean the mummy. So every so often he had to basically give the mummy a bath, sort of. And they said when Atkins died, he was one of the few people there that was actually crying because he said, I used to wash him once a week. Now I'm going to miss him. Sorry.
There you go.
And now he's in the ground. So Mike said I wouldn't be standing next to no dead body taking a photo.
So in 1988, I think it probably was, I'm driving from Ohio to Arkansas to check out a school where I could finish my bachelor's. And my buddy Gary Comer was in the truck with me, and I had a 1968 Datsun pickup truck.
Red.
A red one. Orangey red.
One of the first ones ever sold here, I think.
And we broke down in Paducah, Kentucky, and had to get the truck fixed. And we stayed at this motel that was like from the 50s or 60s. And my buddy Gary Spanky Comer said, well, asked the gal at the front desk if there was anything cool we should see while we were broke down in Paducah. And she goes, yeah, you should go see Speedy. And I'm like, well, who's Speedy? And she told us a story. And I'm like, I'm not going to see like a dead guy you got standing up, dried up in a room, like in the living room, you know. and they had posters of him all over town. It was like their biggest deal.
Yeah, I think it was. That's why they kept doing it for so long, or at least for a while. It's kind of like the Dead Guy show. I mean, they
Yeah, I mean, it was the same kind of thing. That's what got us talking about.
yeah,
Has nothing to do with the winter solstice.
yeah, but it was
And,
still.
and the really cool
story.
thing you forgot to mention was that so in 1928, Speedy drowned in the Ohio River, and he was, I guess, the currents in that part of the river were really bad, and they took him like an undertow basically and took him out to sea and drowned him, and they recovered him. And then he was stored at Hammock's funeral home. And in 1939, the river flooded, and Speedy went back out to the river.
It was I don't know if they were beside the Tennessee River, it's the Paducah River, and then
No, it was the Ohio, and he was
Ohio,
he was floating down the Ohio again, and they found him like floating on the surface, and like, well, we brought him back again.
Hi, buddy. You know what I mean? Hold you up and you look to the TV and talk to everybody.
Life is just a weird thing.
Mm-hmm. Let me kick you up. No. Okay.
Life
yeah, it is. And
life and death. It's a weird thing.
Well, they found it. Another part of that that's really strange is they found him twice after being washed down that river, which is not the easiest thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sized river.
Yeah,
and it's just above the confluence with the Mississippi,
especially when it's at flood stage. Diana said this is just wrong in so many ways. Yeah, it is. I mean, it really was, but and I'm like I say, I'm not laughing to make fun of Speedy. Maybe I'm laughing at the people that actually came there and paid money, although they're probably.
Well, I mean, they got that. You see those billboards along Interstate Highway 10. If you're westbound through New Mexico on Interstate Highway 10, you see these signs, these great big red and yellow signs saying, when you get to the Arizona border, stop and see the thing.
Yeah.
And it's only 90 more miles to the thing.
The thing.
And the thing is a mummified Indian man that whatever proprietor of that little quote unquote museum discovered, and they charge people money to go look at, a man that should be put back where he was found.
I'm surprised the Native Americans haven't come raided that.
Maybe they have by now, but I mean, when I was working down there, they still had him out there. He was still in that museum. It's not, I'm using that term loosely, but. Yeah,
I got you. I told Mark yesterday when we were talking about this, and he was telling me about Speedy that, this is so much worse in so many ways than keeping a bear penned up and feeding him Coca-Colas and ice cream for tourists to come by and get the picture in the Smoky Mountains, even though I think that's a horrible thing and they shouldn't ever do it. This is kind of worse than that. I mean, so many ways. But if you look online and check out the Google, there's all kinds of photos you'll see, and like I say, it's not hard to find. He's in Wikipedia and other places. It's not hard to find history of the whole thing, and it is quite interesting what people will do. I don't know how else to say that. I don't what people will do to one another and then figure out a way to make a buck out of it. It's
well, I mean, like the thing, I'm sure that wasn't his name.
Oh no, Carol asked that. She said, "How
awful thing." It's like a Stuckey's truck stop kind of a deal, and you stop there and get your pecan log and get your picture taken with the dead Indian guy. Yeah. It's terrible, I think, but
it is. It's probably been going on since they put the road in out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was when it wasn't even an interstate yet.
Yeah. Mm. So anyway, another interesting thing here you learned on the Saturday Morning Shine Show.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell all your friends about it, and I bet
Yeah.
they
Be
don't
sure
know.
and tell your grandchildren; they'll be happy.
Yeah. I bet nobody you know, local friends, I bet none of them know. So this will be a fresh new story for you to share.
You'll be the center of attention at
Yeah.
the old coffee shop.
Well, what time is it? It's 20 after 12.
I don't know.
I forgot to do another one, and it is relevant to today's program. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. And
Oh, Mary Lewis.
the Mary Lewis thing, which is another
That's
interesting
when you
thing.
go wassailing right there.
Yeah, that's a wassailing thing, and it truly is a wassailing thing. And doot, doot, doot. Mary Lewis, Mary Lewis, Mary Lewis. And I'll see if I can't do that same share thing again. There we go. So this was Mary Lewis. Actually, is a I believe Welsh, Mark, or Scottish term for a horse, and Lewis, or it may be a combination of the two. I can't remember.
Well, this is all Welsh.
And what they would do and this is not what it looks like, which is some kind of scary monster kind of thing. This is actually something they would do as a bit of fun. And it was another one of them things where you could get drink and food. In fact, that guy right there looks like he's carrying either that's his purse or he's carrying a trick or treat bag kind of a thing. But there is a person, obviously, in that sheet with the horse's head on top, and he's the Mary Lewis. And what they do here is they go wassailing, singing, caroling to different houses. And I swear, I believe this one said something about if they could out carol the homeowner, they got to come in and eat. There was some way they could come in and get, snacks or drink, or it was another way to get drunk. I figured out. And but it was pretty interesting. I never heard of it. And if you go online and look this up, hey Chuck, welcome in, buddy. This might be the first time you've ever showed up. You finally subscribed. Well, thank you, Chuck. Hot damn. We've known about you from afar for a long time. So different people, you can make your own Mary Lewis if you can find a horse or a pony's head. But if you go online, I found a really good one, and the guy showed how he made his costume. And the trick is you got to be able to walk around town without showing yourself. And so they don't like to cut eye holes in it because that'll ruin the effect. That's probably why this guy's standing close, so he knows how to walk, where to walk. But the ribbons kind of represent mane and that sort of thing on the horse. It depends on how they do it. The gal that makes one online says you can put them, you can put ribbons on where you want to, or he made his look like a mane. And if you don't know, that's the hair along the horse's neck. But anyway, and they go wassailing and they sing around, and again they get cider and other merriments. And they take a skull and put a stick of some sort up in it. What do you see, buddy? And they walk around town. I do think there's an element of where they try to guess who it is. But he said you had to be careful because you don't want to drop a horse skull because that would be heavy. You could hurt somebody.
That'll hurt you right there.
Mark happens to have one of these, so if I can talk him into it, maybe next year we'll have a Mary Lou outfit. But they walk around town and sing and do Christmas carols, and this doesn't look very Christmassy, but that's what it is. The guy that was making the costume that I saw, and here's an earlier picture of it, which I thought was, that looks like that could be a paper mache horse head.
Yeah, that's not even a real horse head.
They did talk about how they made the ears, though. That's an important part of the. I meant to look at that. See, that one doesn't have any ears. Well, none of those do. The one that the guy was making said that making the ears was kind of important. So, but anyway, then here's a pretty good one. But that looks paper mache too. What they have to do, because the guy can't see, is this is the horse handler, if you will. Well, I don't know what would you call that, Mark?
That's the groom.
The groom. And he's coupled up to the horse's head here. He leads the horse around. So the guy inside the costume has to, pay attention to this and obey what this guy's doing, or they, they pull the horse's head right off the stick easy, and then, Bob's your uncle, the fun's all over. What, bud? What?
See, that's a good one right there. It's got ears.
Yeah, that's a real good one. And the horse's mouth is open a little bit. And it's got, although it's in a weird place, it's kind of got a good mane on it. Maybe the ribbons are the mane in this case. I don't know what this is. What? You trying to tell me something? I don't know.
You got 2 new subscribers just like in a few minutes, buddy.
I don't know what to tell you.
You can't even hear me. I'm talking.
I did. No, I hear you. How do you know that?
Not even paying any attention to what I'm telling you.
Well,
you even hear me.
My cat was talking to me. Well, hang on a minute. There's another
saying nothing.
There's another one that
he was just giving you orders and direction.
What are you trying to tell me? Oh, I know. You love me. What do you want? There was something else I know.
You got Mr. McNeil and Mr. Davis have both joined you.
Bruce Davis. Well, welcome in, Bruce Davis. Always glad to see a new face in the room.
Speaking of a good Welshman,
Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis, good Welsh name.
Yeah. This also led us to talking about a good movie, Mark. I need to go watch, and that's called A Man Walked Up a Hill and Came Down a Mountain. Maybe some of you have seen that.
The Englishman.
Englishman, yeah.
The Englishman that went up a hill and came down a mountain. It's a great movie.
Apparently, it's quite funny, and Mark's daughter she was giggling about it yesterday.
And my mama's maiden name was Evans, so I get to laugh at him.
Yeah, true.
As Mr. Davis could do the same.
There was something else in here that I was supposed to, or that I wanted to talk about. Now I don't see it in there. I mean, it's not ringing a bell. And it was probably an aside that I wasn't, I didn't make a slide for. Well, obviously I didn't.
See, aren't you people glad that I got him off topic, and he added a whole extra half hour.
Yeah, aren't you lucky? What? Oh man, you don't usually do this. What's going on here? Can you whisper in my ear? You gonna fix my hair? Well, I have a grooming break. Apparently, I had a hair out of place. He's
Might be like a chimpanzee
He's
looking for grub.
Come here. Tell me what you want. He's gonna lick my hair. Anyway, I guess that's about done it because I can't remember what I can't remember. And I will remember as soon as I click that end stream button up there, I'm quite sure. But dang it. Something I looked at just now reminded me. Let me take a quick glance back. Ouch, that hurts. You bit me. It is not snack time, if that's what you're trying to tell me. You got 4 hours to wait on that, buddy. You might as well get some sleep. Welcome to the fireside. That's right. Welcome to the TP. Welcome to the fire circle. Mark, Arizona Bowl, Wyoming Cowpokes versus Toledo.
Oh, I was hoping it was the Zips.
Is that the second game, John, or is that the first game today?
No, Mississippi State. Remember?
I
mean Mississippi State.
Oh, that's right. It started at 12, didn't it? And you're not there.
Well, it ain't even 12 here, so.
Started at 10.
It started at 10.
Oh, it started at 10. Oh, I'm missing that one altogether. Shame.
We're not even at John's house watching Mississippi State.
Well, I am like way behind on my chat stuff here. Anyway, all right, guys. I'm gonna cut everybody loose. I'm sure they're ready to go. Ole Miss and Penn State right now. What's the score, John? And we're calling it Mississippi State just to make his son-in-law mad or hurt his feelings. Don't forget to hit the like button. That's right, everybody. Especially since I got a couple of newbies. There's a space. There's a space for what, Tina? 3-0 Penn. Oh, Mark. Penn is beating Miss.
Penn is beating Ole Miss 3-0 right now.
3-0. Oh, 3-3.
It's 3-3 now.
There can be so much made of that I'll have to I hope they continue that way. I'll have to watch it because I'll have to make up a couple of comments for John just because.
Well, I'm gonna have to get off here and go and drive to Kemmer.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. We'll talk soon. See ya. And everybody else, thanks for, as the car guys used to say on NPR, I think you wasted another perfectly good 2 hours listening to us and the TP and just having a fun time. Bruce says he's a Huskers fan, but we didn't get bowl game. Thank you. Oh, well, sorry about that, Bruce. You know, it's really strange how that's happened. I mean, Nebraska used to be one of the powerhouses of the nation, and they just haven't picked it back up yet. I guess Georgia versus Florida State is the big one today. Yeah, it's later. Yeah, I knew it was later this afternoon. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everyone in here has a good holiday. Be safe if you're out partying or drinking or, get you a designated driver. And I hope that 2024 is good to everybody here and everybody. Maybe world peace is a little bit much to ask for, but we can always, wish for it, pray for it, or whatever you do. And, maybe it'll happen. Maybe there can be some peace in this world by the end of the year, but we will see. But otherwise, I hope everyone's safe and happy and warm this winter and got food, and everybody in here is okay. And and if anybody's not, please tell us, and we'll see if we can help. So, Chuck, thanks for coming in, buddy. Thanks for finally subscribing. Bruce, welcome into the club, if you will, the Tennessee Morning Shine family, and everybody else. Have a great day and a great Saturday and a great New Year's, and have fun and be safe. Bye-bye.